starting with the iPhone 8, Apple began supporting fast charging on all of their new iPhones, finally giving their customers the ability to quickly charge their batteries up to 50% in as little as 30 minutes. Not only is this a really convenient feature to have when you're running low on battery in the middle of the day, but by finally supporting it, Apple has helped the iPhone kind of catch up to its Android competitors who have been offering the feature for years. But here's the thing, unlike Samsung, unlike LG or Google or Huawei or Motorola, Apple has decided to think different and not to include a fast charger in the box. And instead, they sell the cable and adapter you need separately for $70. Which, you know, when you've just spent $1,000 on a new iPhone XS or even $1,100 on the XS Max, you kind of expect Apple to throw you a bone, right? Like every other manufacturer includes a fast charger in the box, so why doesn't Apple? Well, in today's video, we're gonna try to answer that question, looking at 3 potential reasons why Apple may have decided not to include a fast charger in the box. And to start things off, we have to go over the first reason that comes to mind, the most obvious reason to anybody who isn't a complete Apple sheep, and that's that Apple just sees an opportunity to make more money. By not including a fast charger in the box, not only does Apple increase the profit margin on every single iPhone sold with a cheaper charger, but they also get to increase the revenue from their accessories business from anybody who wants fast charging. So from a business perspective, as long as people don't stop buying iPhones because they're not including fast chargers, there's really no reason for Apple to do so. And the reality is, most people aren't gonna avoid buying an iPhone just because it doesn't include a fast charger. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that most iPhone users outside of the tech community don't even know what fast charging is. So again, why would Apple just give it to them for free? Giving away stuff for free isn't exactly how Apple became a $1 trillion company. But who knows, right? Like maybe the extra profit isn't the real reason. Maybe the real reason is actually the opposite, in that Apple is trying to save you money by having the iPhone last you longer. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and it probably is considering it's against their main revenue model, but hear me out for a second. So because fast charging effectively pushes more energy into the battery in a shorter amount of time, it generates more heat than conventional charging does. And as both Apple and Samsung will tell you on their websites, excess heat is generally bad news for battery capacity. In fact, Apple goes as far as recommending that you remove certain cases from your iPhone while you're charging it in order to help cool things down. So by not equipping each and every new iPhone user out there with a fast charger, who most likely will only charge their phone overnight anyways, where fast charging doesn't really matter, Apple may be saving millions of iPhones from excess heat, which in theory could help those iPhones last longer. Sure, it may not make a difference in the first year or the second year, maybe not even in the third, but considering that Apple is now supporting iPhones for longer than ever with the 5-year-old iPhone 5S still updated to iOS 12, it could have a real effect. So is this the real reason? You know, while it is interesting to consider, I don't think so. At the end of the day, if Apple really only cared about battery preservation, they could always ship the iPhone with fast chargers and just build in a software feature in iOS 12 that defaults the iPhone to slow charging. Samsung has a feature just like this where you can toggle fast charging on and off, so clearly Apple can do it as well, but they don't. So while extending the life of the iPhone's battery may or may not be a supporting reason for Apple, it's definitely not the real reason why they're not including a fast charger. But let's shift gears now and move on to the third reason why Apple may have decided not to include a fast charger, and maybe more importantly, why they may not ever include a fast charger in an iPhone box. And that reason is Apple believes wireless is the future. It's the reason why they say they got rid of the headphone jack, and it's the vision that will inevitably lead them to getting rid of the charging port. And getting rid of that charging port would be a lot harder of a transition if your customer base was already used to fast charging, because as of right now, wireless charging is 2 times slower than fast charging via a cable. And given all the troubles that Apple has had with AirPower, I don't know if it's guaranteed that by the time that Apple does remove the charging port, that wireless charging will be equal to what you can get with fast charging. So there's a good chance that Apple may be holding off on making fast charging standard on the iPhone because they plan on getting rid of wired charging altogether. By not including a fast charger in the box, and by putting a pretty high price on fast charging, they ultimately reduce the the total amount of people who become accustomed to it, and therefore they reduce the total amount of backlash that they'll get when they remove the charging port. So which one is it? What's the real reason why, annoyingly, Apple isn't including a fast charger in the box? Is Apple just being greedy? Or are they trying to extend your battery life? Or are they setting themselves up for a successful transition into a wireless future? Personally, I think it's more about the money in the short term and about the transition to becoming fully wireless in the long term. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.